This Associates of Cape Cod Incorporated training video is intended to help you achieve proficiency with our Pyrosate test kit, a rapid and easy to perform test for endotoxin detection. It is based on the gel clot test method and is specific for endotoxin. In this video, we will demonstrate the FDA licensed limit test using USP reference standard endotoxin, otherwise referred to as RSE. Before performing a Pyrosate test, ensure that you have all of the materials required. Materials provided with the Pyrosate 10 test kit include Pyrosate LAL reagent, blue cap, SPL tube, Pyrosate positive product control, red cap, PPC tube, not used in this test, package insert with detailed instructions for use, single-use disposable pipettes. Pyrosate 30 test kit does not include the disposable pipettes. They can be purchased separately from Associates of Cape Cod. Materials that are not provided with the Pyrosate kits but are needed for this particular application include USP reference standard endotoxin, RSE, LAL reagent water, LRW, available from ACC, Pyroclear borosilicate glass dilution tubes, available from ACC. All accessories and reagents should be certified free of interfering levels of endotoxins and glucans, such as those available from Associates of Cape Cod's Pyroclear line of disposable products. Pyrosate is available in sensitivities of 0.03, 0.125 and 0.25 endotoxin units per milliliter, also referred to as EU per ml. We recommend you read the package insert thoroughly and become familiar with its content. The kit-specific recommended incubation time is printed on the label of each 10-pack of SPL and PPC tubes and on the kit-specific Certificate of Compliance, available for download at www.accciusa.com. A non-circulating water bath or a dry block incubator equipped with a calibrated NIST traceable thermometer is required to incubate the reaction mixture at 37 degrees Celsius plus or minus 1 degree. If using a water bath, the level of water in the bath should be just above the level of reaction mixture, but not so deep that the tubes float or move about in the rack. The water bath used should not have any stirring or circulation mechanism or any other source of vibration. A vortex mixer will be used for mixing USP reference standard endotoxin and samples. A timer is used for timing the reaction period. The disposable pipettes provided with Pyrosate 10 test kit are used for transferring liquids at various volumes. Alternatively, pipettes and pipette tips may be used instead of the disposable pipettes. Parafilm will be needed to cover the tops of vials of standard endotoxin if used. Test tube racks are used to hold the various tubes needed during the assay. For this demonstration, we will be performing the assay on a laboratory bench. A biosafety cabinet is recommended when working with infectious samples. All of the accessories should be easily accessible within your workspace. Organize your workspace to allow for easy movement and to limit contamination events. If dilutions of standard endotoxin or of sample are required, we recommend that they be prepared in Associates of Cape Cod's 13 by 100 mm borosilicate depyrogenated glass tubes. Prior to opening the foil pack of dilution tubes, examine the package to identify the end with the round tube bottom. Carefully open the foil wrapping on this end and remove the tubes from the package. When finished removing the tubes, close the foil wrapping on the package to avoid contamination. To open vials of reagent, gently tap the vial of Pyrosate to cause loose reagent to fall to the bottom of the vial. Remove the crimp seal, being careful to avoid the sharp edges of the seal. Remove the rubber stopper from the vial aseptically. You may use a clean pipette tip or a vial opener if available. Always use a new tip or disposable pipette to measure and to transfer different samples or sample concentrations. Generally speaking, it is not necessary to use gloves for endotoxin testing. However, ensure that you follow your company's policy on wearing personal protective equipment. If gloves are required or desired, such as when working with toxic or infectious samples, use non-powdered gloves. Always use aseptic technique even when wearing gloves. To perform a limit test of a sample following the USP BET chapter, negative controls and positive controls at 2 lambda must be included in addition to the positive product control at 2 lambda. The test is conducted in duplicate. Dilute reconstituted USP RSE with LRW to a concentration suitable for preparing a positive product control, PPC, such as 40 times the sensitivity of the Pyrosate kit, or 40 lambda. In this case, since the sensitivity of the Pyrosate kit is 0.125 EU per ml, 40 lambda is 40 times 0.125 EU per ml, which equals 5 EU per ml. This can be used to prepare a PPC of 2 lambda, which is 2 times 0.125 EU per ml, or 0.25 EU per ml. The preparation of the 40 lambda and 2 lambda concentrations has to be calculated based on the stock RSE concentration, which is typically 2000 EU per ml, assuming that the RSE is reconstituted with 5 mLs according to the package insert. Start with a 1 to 100 dilution of the 2000 EU per ml stock RSE solution to result in a concentration of 20 EU per ml. Then prepare a 1 to 4 dilution, resulting in a concentration of 5 EU per ml, or 40 lambda. A final 1 to 20 dilution produces the 2 lambda concentration of 0.25 EU per ml. Open the pack of dilution tubes from the bottom as described earlier. Add 3 tubes to the rack and place the rack within easy reach, but out of the way of the immediate workspace. The concentrations of the substocks that will be used may be written on each tube: 20, 5 and 0.25 EU per ml. Next, add the appropriate volume of LRW to each tube. Carefully pipette 3.96 ml of LRW to the dilution tube labelled as 20 EU per ml. Then change the settings on the micropipette and transfer 3 ml of LRW into the tube labelled as 5 EU per ml. Next, transfer 1.9 ml of LRW to the tube labelled as 0.25 EU per ml. After adding LRW to the tubes, replace the cover on the bottle of LRW and set it aside. The first substock of the 20 EU per ml is prepared by adding 40 microlitres of 2000 EU per ml stock endotoxin standard to the 3.96 ml of LRW. Vortex the RSE vial for 60 seconds prior to pipetting. Pipette 40 microlitres from the CSE stock vial and transfer it to the first dilution tube labelled as 20 EU per ml. Pipette slowly and allow time for the level of liquid in the pipette tip to equilibrate in the solution before transferring any volume. Cover the RSE stock vial with parafilm and store it at 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. The next concentration of 5 EU per ml is prepared by transferring 1 ml of the 20 EU per ml substock to 3 ml of LRW. Vortex the 20 EU per ml tube vigorously for at least 15 seconds before pipetting. Using the same slow pipetting technique as before, transfer 1 milliliter of the 20 EU per ml RSE solution to the tube labelled as 5 EU per ml right after vortexing. If desired, parafilm can be used to cover the tube before vortexing. The concentration of 2 lambda is prepared by adding 100 microlitres of 5 EU per ml substock to 1.9 ml of LRW, which results in a concentration equal to 0.25 EU per ml. Vortex the 5 EU per ml tube for at least 15 seconds, then immediately transfer 100 microlitres of the 5 EU per ml RSE solution to the tube labelled as 0.25 EU per ml. The volumes may be scaled as needed according to the desired final volume. Prepare a new set of substock dilutions daily from the stock endotoxin solution contained in the vial. Prepare PPCs for each sample or sample dilution to be tested. The PPC consists of the sample containing an added small volume of 40 lambda standard endotoxin to give a final concentration of 2 lambda. Prepare the PPC by adding 100 microlitres of 40 lambda to 1.9 ml of sample. The 40 lambda endotoxin concentration is diluted in the sample by a factor of 20 to give the desired concentration of 2 lambda while the sample remains undiluted. Add one dilution tube to the rack and transfer 1.9 ml of the sample into the tube using a micropipette. Vortex the 40 lambda tube vigorously for at least 15 seconds before pipetting. Transfer 100 microliters of the 5 EU per ml RSE solution to the sample tube right after vortexing. Vortex the resulting solution. Before setting up the pyrosate reaction tubes, set the incubation time specified for the lot of 10 packs of SPL and PPC vials. To prepare for testing a single sample and duplicate, we will need a total of 8 SPL vials. 4 vials will be used for controls, negative and positive, and 4 vials for the sample, 2 for the sample and 2 for the PPC. For each additional sample, 4 more SPL vials will be required. Red-capped pyrosate PPC vials are not used in this test. Remove the caps and stoppers from the SPL vials and place the vials in a test tube rack. Process the vials rapidly, again minimizing handling of the tubes, and maintain aseptic technique to avoid contaminating the test. Use a new pipette or tip for each control, sample and PPC. The open bottle of LRW will be used for the negative controls. Transfer 0.5 ml of LRW to each of the 2 pyrosate SPL vials for the negative control. Transfer 0.5 ml of 2 lambda in LRW to each of the 2 pyrosate SPL vials for the positive control. Transfer 0.5 ml of sample to each of the 2 pyrosate SPL vials for the sample test. Transfer 0.5 ml of 2 lambda in sample to each of the 2 pyrosate SPL vials for the positive product control. Mix thoroughly to ensure complete reconstitution by shaking the test tube rack gently for 20 to 30 seconds on a horizontal plane. The contents of the vial will dissolve completely within 60 seconds. This is a critical step in the procedure. Failure to mix adequately will result in unsatisfactory tests. Using a new pipette for each set of replicates, remove and discard 0.25 ml of the reconstituted reagent. Follow the same order in which the vials were reconstituted. Transfer the reaction vials to the heat block or place the rack with the reaction tubes into the water bath and start the timer. Record the time and temperature at the start of the incubation period. Do not cover the reaction tubes or the water bath. Do not disturb the reaction tubes during the incubation period. The gel clot is delicate and may be irreversibly broken if disturbed during incubation. When the timer goes off, signaling the conclusion of the incubation period, record the time and temperature of the heat block or water bath. Do not remove the tube rack from the heat block or water bath prior to reading the test. Do not disturb the vials after the incubation period. Any physical disturbance to the tubes will cause the gel to break. Read the vials one tube at a time, starting with the negative controls. Invert the PPC vials at 180 degrees in one smooth motion until it is completely upside down. Score the result for the tube as positive if a solid gel has formed that does not collapse upon complete inversion of the tube. Any other state of the reaction mixture constitutes a negative test, even if a gel does form but breaks upon inversion. Then read the result of the positive control tubes one replicate at a time, the sample tubes and the PPC tubes. For the test to be valid, both replicates of the negative controls must test negative, and both replicates of the positive controls must test positive. If these conditions are not met, the whole test is invalid. For the test of the individual sample to be valid, both replicates of the PPC for that sample must be positive. If this condition is not met, the test for the sample is not valid. This may be either due to inhibition in the sample or incorrect execution of the test. For the sample, if both replicates are negative, the sample does not contain any detectable endotoxin. The result is reported as less than the label sensitivity of the Pyrosate kit, which in this case is less than 0.125 EU per ml. If both replicates are positive, the endotoxin concentration in the sample is equal to or greater than 0.125 EU per ml. If the sample was diluted by a factor of 2 prior to testing, the final result has to be adjusted for the dilution factor. In this case, 2 times more than or equal to 0.125 EU per ml, which is more than or equal to 0.25 EU per ml. In the previous example, in which the sample did not clot, if the sample had been diluted by a factor of 2 before testing, the final result would have been reported as 2 times less than 0.125 EU per ml, which is less than 0.25 EU per ml. If one replicate is positive and one replicate is negative, the result is indeterminate and the test should be repeated. We hope that the preceding video has provided useful assistance in your preparation for your successful execution of the Pyrosate test. Prior to performing an assay, the Pyrosate package insert should be read carefully. If you wish to obtain any additional information on any aspect of the Pyrosate assay, we encourage you to contact Associates of Cape Cod's Technical Services Department at 508-540-3444 or by email at techservice@acciusa.com. We want you to be successful with our Pyrosate kit, and we will make every effort to assist you.